From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, July 12th. Rain and storms are hitting northern Indiana already this morning before the coverage expands a bit south this afternoon. There'll be the possibility of strong to severe storms throughout the afternoon and into the evening for many parts of central and northern Indiana. And then this evening, rain and storms are possible for areas south of I-70. Highs are set to rise into the mid-80s, and it'll feel a bit more uncomfortable even than yesterday because of those higher humidity values today. And today, the first steps in a final journey as a procession moves the body of Deputy John Durham from the coroner's office to Crown Hill Funeral Home. It is set to happen at 9:30 this morning. The Sheriff's Department says it will stand watch over Durham's body through the funeral. Across Indiana, many people are showing support for Durham and other fallen officers. Durham's death marks the third Indiana law enforcement officer to die in the line of duty in less than 2 weeks. This morning, homes, you might have noticed, are illuminated in blue to show that the people who live there care. The blue light on a house is a symbol to show the community it's backing officers. And many of you at home or wherever you're listening this morning, maybe you've done that. Put a blue light outside your house on your front porch. Just in the past couple of days, driving around neighborhoods, you can see the lights. Many of our viewers say they've had or had family members in law enforcement and will always have a blue light on. Others changed to blue lights after Deputy Durham's death. Those in the line of duty say it's not a small gesture when families illuminate their homes with blue, and it can change the attitude of the officer.
A lot of them could even be wondering, is what I'm doing even worth it? Am I making a difference? And they're driving down your neighborhood in the middle of the night while you sleep, but down the street they see that blue light. That's a beacon of hope to them. It reminds them that people need them and want them there.
FOP President Rick Snyder, who you just heard from, says he got word about Deputy Durham's death while at a funeral for another fallen officer, Tell City Police Sergeant Heather Glenn. Community members tell us that they were shocked to hear about Durham's death, especially it coming just a few short days after the deaths of Glenn and Indiana State Police Trooper Aaron Smith. And the community is really letting law enforcement know that they support them. We've received photos from all across the state with people showing their homes lit up in blue. To see those photos, go to wishtv.com and you can find the story in the As Seen on Wish TV section. And details about the inmate accused of killing Deputy Durham are coming to light. According to court documents, Orlando Mitchell used his handcuff chain to choke and kill Durham. Documents show Mitchell then found Durham's handcuff keys, unlocked his handcuffs, and drove off in a sheriff's van. The sheriff's office says Durham was taking Mitchell to a medical appointment when the assault happened. Mitchell now faces charges for murder, robbery, and escape. IMPD says Mitchell has a violent past. Jail records show Mitchell was being held on a charge of murder from a case in September of last year. Investigators say Mitchell shot and killed Crystal Walton, the mother of his child. It was outside a daycare on the morning of September 16th. IMPD officers found and shot Mitchell about 3 hours later as he was holding a rifle at a bus stop near North Delaware and 10th Streets. And a grieving family wants changes at Whiteland High School to prevent a tragedy from happening again. Elena Dildine died in the school pool in May. Attorney Stephen Wagner spoke with News 8 on behalf of Dildine's family. He described Dildine as a sweet girl with a heart of gold with a mission to spread awareness about epilepsy. The coroner says Dildine had a seizure, which led to her drowning. Then, her body went unnoticed in the pool for nearly an hour. Wagner says the PE teacher and lifeguard took attendance at the start of class, but were not required to count students after they got out of the pool. He explained some of the family's hopes moving forward.
During the supervision of children, there should be provisions made for children with disabilities like Elena. They should be kept closer to the teacher. That's what her care plan called for. There's other ways that, different national epileptic associations talk about perhaps a different colored swimming cap.
The prosecutor declined to file criminal charges. Wagner says the school fired the lifeguard. He says the family may soon decide to file a lawsuit. The Justice Department now says former President Donald Trump can be held liable for his response to E. Jean Carroll's sexual assault accusation. The decision is a reversal of its position that Trump was protected because he was in office when making the comments. The DOJ sent a letter to the lawyers for both parties saying it lacks adequate evidence to conclude Trump was acting within the scope of his employment. Lawyers for Carroll say this was one of the last obstacles to the lawsuit reaching trial. A Georgia grand jury will now decide whether Trump is charged over efforts to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state. The jury was selected and sworn in yesterday. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis launched the investigation into the former president in 2021. She's already received a redacted report with charging recommendations from a special grand jury that was seated in May of 2022. Willis says a final decision could come next month. Trump and his allies have denied any wrongdoing. NATO membership will not happen yet for Ukraine. That's the clear message from leaders at this week's summit, saying the alliance will welcome Ukraine only when allies agree and conditions are met. NATO is promising new rounds of aid to the country in its conflict with Russia, but Ukraine's president is bristling at the lack of immediate invitation. Volodymyr Zelensky called the lack of a timetable absurd. As President Biden attends the summit, one of the people running to replace him, Mike Pence, agrees that NATO needs to wait.
I honestly believe that it's important, as the leader of the free world and the arsenal of democracy, that America continue to provide the Ukrainian military what they need to fight and win and repel that unprovoked Russian invasion. But the question of NATO membership, and I spoke about this with President Zelensky, I think should all wait on after the war is won.
NATO members have agreed to fast-track Ukraine's membership once the war is over. Cleveland police say a man is in custody in connection with a weekend mass shooting that left 9 people wounded. Police arrested 25-year-old Jalen Jennings yesterday. Authorities plan to search his home for evidence, which could also help determine a motive. Police say U.S. Marshals helped them find Jennings. Witnesses say early Sunday morning, Jennings pulled a gun out of his trunk before firing into a crowd. Police say the victims ranged in age from 23 to 38. They say 7 are still in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The CDC is reporting a surge in norovirus on cruise ships. The agency says 13 cruises have had outbreaks this year, the most since 2012. The most recent appears to be a Viking cruise from Iceland that docked in New York City last month. Viking says it appears to have stemmed from a group of passengers who went to a restaurant on shore. The CDC says norovirus can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. Health experts recommend washing hands frequently to prevent the spread. There is a new Carmel Swim Academy officially open today. It's the payoff to years of planning and fundraising. Carmel Swim Academy offers free swim lessons to children who receive free or reduced price lunches at school. $700,000 in donations was raised to fund the construction of the 10,000 square foot multi-use facility. It'll offer programming for young beginners to club practice for members and lap swim for people in the community. It'll be open from 5 to 9 p.m. each day. Overhead viewing area for watching swim lessons is there. There's a workstation with Wi-Fi and space for parents to do their own workouts during their children's swim lessons. Carmel Swim Academy will also expand its free swim lesson program, offering up to 1,600 children free lessons each year. And new this morning, we have another state fair reveal. This time, a look at several new exhibits and events. The Illuminate Light Show will run the first 2 weeks. It's a custom show with oversized lanterns. It's free to watch in the expo hall. The first State Fair Cornhole Tournament is set for July 29th with a grand prize of $2,000. And 64 teams will be allowed to take part in that. A new otter show also starts August 2nd. It's called Otter Adventure. It's billed as an interactive, up-close and personal show. The fair starts July 28th and runs through August 20th. A former Indianapolis Indian is on top of Major League Baseball as the biggest star in a night full of stars. Elias Diaz hit the game-winning 8th-inning home run to power the National League to an all-star victory. The 3-2 win is the NLS's first win since 2012. Diaz catches for the Rockies now after a career full of twists, including his release by the Pirates. He played parts of 4 seasons in Indianapolis. A museum makeover is coming at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. A long-awaited plan is now in place to remake the attraction. The Stories Behind the Spectacle is the name of the fundraising campaign and a glimpse at the goal. New renderings show what the museum will look like when it is complete. You can find those at wishtv.com with this story. The president of the museum says it'll give race fans a completely different experience.
It's going to be transformational, I think, what people are going to see when we do reopen the museum. much more interactive, much more immersive, much more entertaining, but also much more educational than it's ever been before.
Planners say the work will cost $89 million, and the fundraising campaign has now raised $46 million. Work is scheduled to start in October, and the museum will close completely in November, then reopen in April of 2025. To business headlines now. Inflation data looms today. The Consumer Price Index, what we pay for gas, food, and housing, will be released this morning. It's expected to show inflation continuing to ease. Credit card interest rates now average 20.5%, the highest since bank rates started tracking them in 1985. The average credit card debt is $5,733 per person, according to TransUnion. 2 in 5 Americans think credit card debt is embarrassing, according to a new consumer credit card report from NerdWallet, and many keep how much they owe a secret. Bank of America is being accused of opening fake accounts and charging illegal junk fees. Some of the charges are reminiscent of the Wells Fargo scandal last decade that involved opening millions of bank accounts without customers' okay. Bank of America will be on the hook to pay the agencies and the customers who were harmed more than $250 million in total. Microsoft can close its $75 billion acquisition of Activision. A federal judge ruled Tuesday it delivers a major setback to the Biden administration's attempt to rein in big mergers. The deal would combine Microsoft's Xbox video gaming business with the publisher of popular franchises such as Call of Duty, World of Warcraft, and Candy Crush. Nearly a third of Americans say they can go without their phones this entire summer. Conducted by one poll on behalf of tech care company Asurion, found all the talk about younger generations and their phones. Just 27% of boomers would be willing to spend the summer without their devices, fewer than any other age group. And finally, Miss Indiana Teen has her new title and quite the story to go along with her crown. The story involves a trip to the ER, surgery, and the stage. 16-year-old Keegan Connor not only won Miss Indiana Teen last month, she went into the competition hours after having her appendix removed. But now, she says, the whole ordeal was a blessing in disguise. Hannah Mordeau reports.
New Miss Indiana's Teen 2023 is Keegan Connor.
The crowning of this queen almost didn't happen. The moment and journey still surreal for 16-year-old Keegan Connor.
I am Miss Indiana's Teen, a part of the Miss America organization, and it's just even crazy to get to say that out loud.
What's even crazier? She was in this hospital bed, headed for surgery hours before the Miss Teen Indiana pageant even started.
It really is an important part of my journey. Weekend before the whole competition started, I started having stomach pains, and we thought it was just a 24-hour bug.
But the pain was too much.
Appendicitis starts and then it progresses.
Katie Yeasteen is a nurse practitioner for the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital Pediatric Surgery and Trauma Team and says that's the reality Keegan was facing.
It's not going to be appendicitis. It's not. It just kept saying that over and over. Obviously it was.
She was diagnosed with acute appendicitis and transferred to our center so that she could have a laparoscopic appendectomy.
I told them I had a pageant.
So the doctors planned.
Anesthesiologist actually said that she put in a smaller tube for me so that my voice wouldn't be so hoarse.
Also a small incision, meaning minimal recovery needed.
I actually got my surgery at the exact same time that the whole Miss Indiana week started at 10 a.m. on Monday morning. And I ended up going to rehearsals that night after I was released out of the hospital at 4:30 because I just wanted to be there so bad.
It is Keegan Connor.
Then it was evening gown and talent. Voice clearly intact, and finally interviews.
Never talked about it in my interview, so I said, oh, well, actually, we never talked about this, but on Monday I had an emergency appendectomy, and their jaws dropped to the floor.
What's also jaw-dropping? This isn't even Keegan's first surgery.
Keegan Cares Scoliosis Awareness is where I advocate for scoliosis because when I was 13, I was diagnosed with severe scoliosis. So I have 8 titanium screws in my back and a cord that is like a tether.
It's not checked for in schools anymore, and that's what Keegan is hoping to change now that she has this crown. She's going to state leaders to push for scoliosis health checks. And back at the hospital, she's sort of a star.
We are so incredibly proud of her.
A picture of perseverance.
I didn't realize I had all this strength in me. I didn't realize that I could go through something like this.
Proof that hard work, willpower, and a little help can achieve big dreams.
I think it's really important for me to reflect on it and look back at it as it was really a blessing in disguise.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting. Keegan plans to meet with state representatives about Keegan Cares in December. Then she'll compete in the Miss America teen pageant in January. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.